Alright, I almost forgot to start recording, but because I just recorded the Elden Ring thing that's gonna go live probably tomorrow, along with the Pokemon Direct thing. Anyway, we're back into Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We just finished the investigation, well, part 1 of the investigation for episode 3, and we're going into the trial, and I'm hoping that there was only the one investigation, because that investigation took 3.5 hours. I may actually not be able to stream tomorrow, because I have stuff to do along with my normal uploading and other... Like, I have additional stuff that I need to do, basically. I'll figure that out when the time comes, though. 23rd October, 8:52 a.m. The Old Bailey Defendant Safety Chamber. I can't believe it's been 6 months since I was last allowed to work in court. And now here I am, back at the Old Bailey. Ah, Mr. Naruhodo! Good morning, Professor Hairbrain. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. The atmospheric pressure in here is off the charts. I've never felt anything like it. It's crushing me. I feel it every time I'm here. Like gravity. I feel like we haven't picked up a lot of evidence, but I guess we'll get a lot in court as well. Ah, this is Britain's highest court. But are you telling me it's fitted with some kind of device that can actually control air pressure? I think it's probably all in mind. Ah, yes, well, you won't let me down, will you, Mr. Naruhodo? Look, look, you're asking me to change the charge from murder to manslaughter. That I can do. Getting you fully acquitted, it's a little bit of it's a bit more of a tall order. I'm counting on you in today's trial to save my life! To save the secret of my super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine from being made public! Yes, I understand. I know what I had to do. I just housed the explosion 2 days ago was nothing more than an unfortunate accident. Well, I'm sure there's nothing to worry about, really. Justice will prevail. I don't think it was an accident, though. I think it was murder. Or I think it was... So here's the thing. I think it was murder. I don't think that he did it. Because obviously we have this crossbow here that we picked up on the stage grounds. I just don't know who would have done it. Well, I'm sure there's nothing to worry about, really. Justice will prevail. My commiserations, Mr. Naruhodo. My commiserations, Mr. Naruhodo. You appear to have been lumbered with the most tiresome case here. Mr. Sholmes, I didn't expect to see you here. I don't know why I started off with Van Zeeks. I mean, I do know why, because they know him. Or they all, because he knows. Van Zeeks knows Hairbrain. It took me this hour to reach him. Is it? Are you? Herlock Sholmes! Indeed, sir. I am he. Herlock Sholmes. I've heard all about your exploits, even whilst living in Germany.
Oh, yes, Miss Magazine is on sale in Germany too.
This month's installment was sublime. Your detection in The Adventure of Silver Blaze was wonderful. Ah, yes. A memorable case indeed. It concerned a snake, I seem to recall.
Oh, that was the speckled band.
Well, thank you for coming. I do appreciate your support. I'm sorry to disappoint you, my dear fellow, but I'm afraid I can't stay. Oh. I have urgent business at Madame Tuspel's. You mean your waxwork job? No, the waxwork of Dutton, of course. Madame has engaged my services. Ah, so you're trying to get to the bottom of that ransom note, are you? The which wages depend on, as does the safe return of the waxwork, naturally. As such, I intend to give it my undivided attention. Oh, well, never mind then. I understand. Of course, with my skills of observation and reasoning, resolving the matter will be as easy as a proverbial pie. I shall return forthwith. For until I solve the case, I shall have no money to afford any pie of any description.
Oh, this is your full attention, Bernie.
Quite, Iris, quite. But life is riddled with irony, you know. Whenever I give something my full attention, I have a quite insatiable desire for a pie. One of the universe's intractable mysteries, you might say.
Oh yes, quite, definitely, absolutely. I totally understand.
Is someone a little starstruck? I wish you the very best of luck, Professor Hairbrain.
Oh, why, thank you.
Before I depart, Mr. Naruhodo, a word in your ear, if you please. What's this about? As a remarkably little grounding in science, I feel I have to inform you. As compelling as this super high voltage instantaneous kinesis hypothesis may be, a practical implementation, such as was attempted by the professor at the Great Exhibition, is quite impossible. Yeah, I said that. But the professor said the demonstration was a success. Look, I said that. People have been struck by lightning and that doesn't happen. Yes, it would appear he fervently believes it was.
Professor Brinley's speaker is too, and I have to say, I'm certain it can't be done. It could barely be done theoretically, let alone practically.
So he's completely barking up the wrong tree? How can an experiment like that had no possibility of succeeding in fact succeed? That's contradictory. And it's that contradiction that will be at the heart of the trial, I have no doubt. What's that supposed to mean? It means that we have to solve, it means that we have to solve the murder of this guy because the cops in this... It means that we have to solve the murder of Odie Asman because the cops in Ace Attorney games don't do their jobs worth a crap. Now I must hurry along. I wish you the best of luck, my dear fellow.
See you later, Hurley. Looks like you're on your own today right now. But cheer up, you can do it.
Oh, what about you, Iris?
Oh no, I'm afraid I can't help. There's something I need to do.
I see.
It's going to be a big surprise for you when you find out what it is.
Ah, that sounds ominous. You're also for the defense of the defendant. The court is about to be in session. Make your way to the courtroom at once. We're on our way. It's better that the laws of science sit and it can't possibly succeed. The scientist is convinced that it did. That's the riddle you have to unlock here, Ryunosuke. That's the key to this case. 23rd October, 9:10 a.m. The Old Bailey Courtroom. I keep wanting to say courtroom number whatever. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are sitting today for the public trial of Professor Albert Harebrain. I now call upon counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready, my lord. 6 months out of practice. What's more, I'm without Sasato-san today. Is it just my imagination, or does the air in here feel even more oppressive than usual? So, I must say I recollect the victim of this case all too well, Mr. Odie Asman. Mr. Asman was a well-known financier, though that was merely from first diverse criminal activities. It was only a month ago that the man appeared here in court prosecuted by you, Lord Van Zeeks, but the jury unanimously found him not guilty. Because every member of the jury had been bribed by the sound of it. These powerful London criminals are preparing to go to extreme lengths to keep their freedom. As we know all too well with Madness McGilded. But 2 days ago, on 21st October, Mr. Asman met his end. The work of the Reaper, was it? If that is how your lordship would describe divine retribution. But the fact remains that Mr. Asman's death was a direct result of the actions of the accused, Professor Harebrain. Very well then. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have been selected at random to represent the will of the people. Are the 6 of you ready to fulfill your societal duty? I'm most gratified to have been selected to carry out this important civic duty, my lord.
To have a man's fate in the palm of one's hand. Oh gosh, oh golly. It sends shivers down my spine. Science is variants, magic, conjuring tricks, courtroom trials, all are nothing more than performances.
Aylesbury School that devotes the reputation of science deserves to pay.
Anything was there on both sides of the range in 01. I said, didn't you?
Juror number 6, aren't you in the middle of an investigation? Wasn't like this in my day. Wasn't like this at all. That's the police killer auto Hermo look-alike again. This has exhausted his effort, it seems. Now, as I'm still, you are all aware. The incident we are here to judge today tragically took place at the Great Exhibition shortly after its opening. Though the death toll could have been far worse, with the exception of the victim, no one was killed. Nevertheless, the dream of the science being exhibited rapidly turned into a nightmare for the spectators. Can I... tragic turn of events, and as such, the eyes of all London know the whole world will be on this trial. It is our duty to reach a swift and just conclusion, I feel. Even though that never actually happens in these games. So, your opening statement, please, Lord Van Zeeks. At the heart of this incident is technology never before demonstrated anywhere in the world. One of science's latest developments, I take it. The government is keen to capitalize on the Great Exhibition to improve Britain's technological advantage. The technology being demonstrated by the accused is described as super high voltage instantaneous kinesis. Good lord! It's designed to disassemble human subjects using extremely high voltage electricity, then beam them instantly to another location where they're subsequently reassembled. It's Such a thing even within the realms of possibility? No, it's not. Well, I don't believe it, that's for sure.
Disassembling people with electricity? My goodness, how shocking.
The whole idea is absurd. The hypothesis would never stand up to scrutiny. Sir, I believe you are a fellow of the Royal Society, are you not? An expert in your field? I am, and my word on the matter can be considered final. Instantaneous kinesis is poppycock. So this expert and Mr. Solmes are in agreement. It's impossible. What is the prosecution's view on the matter? The prosecution would assert that the accused's instantaneous kinesis demonstration was a success. What? What's wrong? What are? The professor's hypothesis is currently under investigation by the British government. If it is deemed to have merit, a substantial research grant will be made available. The accused made use of the invention built on his new hypothesis to take Mr. Asman's life, in order to be the sole benefactor of the grant. I don't know how we can disprove that. But... This disastrous demonstration was no accident. Okay, he was... So here's the thing. Odie was the accused only backer. So if this experiment failed... but he died anyway, he would lose all of... You know, obviously... but Odie died, Asman died, then he would lose all of his financial backing, and he wouldn't even have the research grant to fall back on. It was carefully designed from the outset to end the life of the victim. Thank you, Lord Vanceus. The prosecution's stance is clear. But you will now bring forth witnesses to substantiate your claims. Gladly, my lord. The cape is off. Bailiff, show the first witnesses to the stand. Look, we're gonna be here a while if we had to go through every single witness. Witnesses state no names and occupations for the court. Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard's Homicide Division, was on duty at the demonstration on the day in question, and in the charge of the following investigation.
Albert Harebrain's scientist.
You were born in England and have been carrying out research in Germany in recent years, correct?
Yes, that's right. After graduating from university here in Britain, I went to work in Germany and made an amazing discovery, which is what brought me back. I had to demonstrate my incredible hypothesis at the Great Exhibition.
What you demonstrated was incredible, alright. An incredible explosion!
But the science was a success. The instantaneous kinesis worked. Everybody saw it. They must have done. Yes, there was a terrible accident, but the demonstration of my hypothesis was a success.
That is undeniable, as shown in this photograph taken by the forensic investigation team. What? This was taken inside Crystal Tower, I take it. The centerpiece of the exhibition, no less. He only has a single puncture wound to the chest, where his heart would be. That's right, my lord. It seems the victim ran straight into it. But, like, the rest of him is perfectly fine. I I see. Very well. Submit the photograph as evidence. Photograph shows an apparent stab wound to the chest.
As the courts heard, the victim of this incident was Mr. Odie Aspen.
Can I examine this? I can't examine it, really.
There have been a number of allegations made against the man, putting them aside for the time being. He was the man who financed the research of the, for the development experiment and the demonstration itself.
I see. So to summarize the situation, the defendant is accused of taking the life of the man who funded his work. Would that be correct?
Exactly.
Couldn't it be that the explosion was caused by some malfunction in the apparatus used for the demonstration?
That's right, that must be it. That's right, that must be it. My splendid machine, my poor splendid machine.
You saw it yesterday, didn't you? We can't even examine the records thanks to the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act.
What? The wreckage? The wreckage?
But that being the case, how can the facts be established? How can it possibly be determined whether this was an accident or a deliberate and malicious act?
Extremely simply, my lord.
I beg your pardon. Isn't that right, witness?
What? Sorry? Me?
No, your neighbor. Yes, sir. It was murder, plain and simple. Anyone could state that with complete certainty.
What? How can you possibly think that? Gee, I don't know. Maybe the single stab wound to the... Maybe the fact that this guy's completely uninjured aside from a single stab wound to the chest. Thank you, Inspector. I think we had better proceed to formal testimony. You will explain to the court on what grounds you claim this experiment to have been a front for murder. Front for murder.
The corpse that went crashing through the crystal tower had a broken neck.
I made a minor miscalculation in the angle of the beam projection, that's all. That was my mistake.
But the post-mortem examination revealed another injury, a fatal wound. There was a lesion in his chest where he could have been stabbed by something right in the heart. So the victim was killed before he went anywhere, and this fellow's the only one who could have done it.
An extraordinary business. In addition to suffering a broken neck, the victim was also stabbed in the heart? No, he was stabbed in the heart, then his neck was broken. Information I would really like to have heard from someone other than the judge.
The coroner says death would have been all but instant from a wound like that. You could say, in fact, that the victim was killed twice by the accused.
No, that couldn't be further from the truth.
I have here the experiment plan document that was submitted to the security team. The agent set himself in something called the birdcage, ready to be beamed instantly. To the second level of Crystal Tower, about 25 yards away.
You know, there's a third level here where they could have shot him from and they would have been none the wiser, right?
The experiment did not go according to plan, however. As the machine was put into operation, there was a large explosion. The blast caused the beam transmitter to point higher than intended. Accordingly, the kinesis resulted in the birdcage materializing in midair, from where it subsequently fell crashing through the glass of the Crystal Tower's large round window.
My word. One assumes the victim's neck was broken upon impact with the tower, then.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen. The machine was just too powerful. But honestly, really, I swear, it was just an accident. A terrible accident.
Unfortunately, that excuse can't save you. No, not considering the sharp murder weapon that pierced the victim's heart.
Murder weapon? What are you saying?
This autopsy report is the autopsy report submitted by the coroner. The prosecution would like to get entered into the court record.
Your request is granted, counsel. Autopsy report of the victim, Mr. Asman. His neck was broken from the impact of a violent fall, and he suffered he was stabbed in the chest with a sharp object.
I was there in person, you know. I saw the whole ludicrous performance.
21st October, 2:20. Courtney Scythe. It's the coroner. Odie Asman, 47, British. Hemorrhage of wound to the chest that pierced the heart, inflicted by a sharp implement. Broken vertebra, most likely resulting from impact after a sudden fall from considerable height.
Very well, the best says that Mr. Osmond was a disgraceful excuse for a scientist.
Then really, by all accounts, it must have been him.
Hard to think otherwise, really.
Very well. Counsel for the defense, proceed with cross-examination, please. Oh, yes, my lord. I need to focus here. It's been a while.
Hold it!
Are you suggesting that's because he fell from a considerable height?
Exactly. Let's highlight something else about this whole rum business.
What's that?
The fact that the instantaneous kinesis itself was a success.
Ah!
After the explosion, the cage with the fella inside suddenly appeared out of nowhere in midair.
So although the experiment ended in disaster, the so-called instantaneous kinesis did actually occur.
Remind us, Professor, what was the cause of the fatal disaster?
This calculates on the angle of the beam projection, that's...
Hold it!
So the angle of the projection is critical, is it? And you calculated it yourself, personally?
Absolutely. The calculation is far too complicated for anyone but me to carry out.
Only you got it wrong, didn't you?
Yes, that's right. That's the point. The calculation is so complicated, even I can make a mistake.
Do people fall for that brazen confidence? I should try it.
I took into account the subject's height and weight, and the wind direction, the ambient temperature. These are very possible variables, so I just don't understand how this could have happened.
Obviously, then, you had to include the weight of the clothes Mr. Aspen was wearing at the time, I suppose.
Ah! Crackling comments! The answer should have been 3!
So much for safety first. The three must be for safety third. Postmortem revealed another injury, a fatal wound.
Hold it!
Another fatal injury, you say? That doesn't make any sense.
I didn't think I had to spell this out, but here we go. Just because there were 2 fatal wounds doesn't mean I'm saying the victim had 2 lives to lose, does it?
Too right.
Obviously, at first, we thought the bloke had died due to the spine snapping in half as well.
You're saying that's not the case.
You'll get your answer once I finish my fish and chips if you don't keep butting in every few seconds.
We all know that's a bottomless bag.
The victim plummeted 30 feet into a glass tower. It would be reasonable to assume that is the cause of death. Right, that's what we all thought. But it was a red herring, wasn't it?
Could have been stabbed by something sharp right in the heart. The defense knew nothing of this crucial information.
The prosecution received this report from the forensic investigation team only this morning. That was the first we knew of it as well. I can only apologize for the impossibility of informing the defense.
Sarcastic and insincere? Thanks. So, what was the nature of this sharp object?
Among the used tools that were in use at the demonstration, one is of particular interest. This.
Ah, yes, that would appear to be some kind of screwdriver. Also, aha! There he is! My trusty little companion, Andrew! Andrew, of course. Ah, do you know each other already? He's one of my dear friends. I like all my tools. I've named them all, you know. We're one big happy family. I'm ruling this man insane. He's not guilty of murder, but lock him up. Andrew is my flathead screwdriver, of course. His brother Michael is a crosshead. Well, it would appear that your beloved Andrew has a large red stain on his shank. Ah, that isn't...
It's blood beyond all reasonable doubt.
No.
And that's not all. The long shot, perhaps shape of this Andrew fellow is completely consistent with the victim's wound.
What? Order! The court will enter this friend of the defendant as evidence. Alright, screwdriver's been entered into the court record. So one of Professor Hairbrain's tools is the murder weapon? I've seen this unusually shaped handle before. Same screwdriver was lodged in the grill on the floor of the kinesis machine. Which could be important information, so I should definitely make a note of it. I'm poking through a grill in the base of what remains of the kinesis machine. Distinctive handle. This is blood. Mr. Asmus, no doubt. This is the problem with looking at murder weapons. Wait a minute. There's no freaking way, though, right? Can I examine the tip? Doesn't look like it. Although it looks like the tip is broken off. Great. Victim looks forward. Before you went anywhere in this was all good.
Hold it!
Done it. What grounds do you have for saying that?
Do you really need to ask? Not only two people in that public experimentation stage in front of the whole crowd. The victim, Mr. Odie Asman, and the accused, Professor Hairbrain. You know for certain that before the experiment, the victim was alive.
That's right, I saw him with my own eyes.
Furthermore, following the explosion in kinesis, nobody went anywhere near the body. In other words, only someone else on stage with the victim could possibly done it.
Excuse me!
Professor Hairbrain, do you have some information that may be relevant here? Professor!
Ah, sorry. I was just calculating the optimum coefficient of electrolysis to separate molecules in the human body.
And the witness stand is the best place for that. It seems as though you might have something to say about Inspector Gregson's last remark.
Yes, that's right, of course. He just said that nobody else could have done it, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Who else could have stabbed the victim, eh?
I don't know, but there's no way that I could possibly have stabbed Mr. Asman as you say.
Eh?
Explain, please, Professor.
Of course, this cold-hearted policeman may not be aware, I suppose. But humans are warm-blooded mammals with blood running continuously through their veins.
I had heard.
Then surely, you see, if I'd plunged something in the size of Andrew into the man's chest, the whole stage would have been a bloodbath. No, a blood swimming pool. Ah. But thousands of Londoners were watching me at the time. And yet not one of them claims to have seen a swimming pool of blood.
Oh no, I suppose not.
You see, not one.
True, I didn't see anything like that.
Well done, Professor. That was a great counter-argument. Order! Pray forgive the discourtesy if I savor a drop from my hallowed chalice to accompany my old friend's adducing. Here's to you, Albert.
Oh, you're too kind, Barrack. I'm really not a patch on you. But I'm really not a patch on you.
No, you're not.
No?
You've neglected to mention one crucial possibility.
I have?
A particular situation in which very little bleeding would result from a stab wound.
Ah, of course.
Inspector, enlighten the court, please.
Yes, sir.
Where are they going with this? They're gonna say he left the screwdriver in the wound and then removed it later, or whatever. Well, you amend your formal testimony now, Inspector Grayson. Often the victim's stab must have been left in his body whilst he was bleeding through the air. I can't actually... Why is my... Oh, because it's E and then R. Found through the grill... Poking through the grill in the base of remains of the kinesis machine.
Objection!
What?! Well... Huh?! No, we're reloading. We're reloading. Autosave. We have to go through... We have to go through a bit here. Poking through the grill. Okay. Okay, it did save that at least.
Hold it!
Because it even says we found it in the base of the grill, or in the machine. I guess we have to be like, oh, where was the body? Oh yeah, it was in the Crystal Tower. Yeah.
Excuse me.
You, blah 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 blah. Professor Hairbrain. Oh, there would have been a lot of more blood. Oh, but you left the tool in there, except you fucking couldn't have done that. This is why I saved Scum. There's no reason why I should have taken a penalty there. there's no logical reason. There's no reason why I should have taken a penalty there, except for there's some flag under the hood that hey, we didn't that except for some flag that didn't get checked under the hood, basically. Like, I know exactly what the game wanted me to present there. And even where I was supposed to present it, but I guess I needed to press the statement first to get a flag underneath the actual game to be checked, or whatever. Okay, we're gonna save here, so we don't have to go back through that crap again. Oh, I goofed. You know what? That's all this I'm gonna have to work with. I'm just gonna reload. That way we don't have to go through this scene a second time. Why would you think that, Inspector?
Well, any wound, it's only when you pull the weapon out that the profuse bleeding occurs. Whilst it's so large in the body, it's a stopper of sorts, for want of a better word.
You should know this. That was explained to you several times with in the last trial you were in with the whole. Well, actually, no. That was Suzette. Actually, no, that was Suzette I'm thinking of. Also, excuse me for burping. I see.
You don't need a medical degree to be aware of this fact. It's common knowledge for any investigator.
Suzette is on when you need her in Japan.
Ask me, the blood mat. That's what he was doing on view with his body before stabbing her husband in the chest. Then he beamed the victim off the stage with his fancy device and the screwdriver. That's still where he planted it.
I would never do such a thing. Not to my precious tools. I would never use them for such dirty work. You only have to use tools for their intended purpose. That's common knowledge for any scientist.
The fact remains, the lack of blood at the scene can be easily explained, as the prosecution has demonstrated.
So this is why I'm torque. I had no idea the victim had been stabbed. That changes everything. Did man Zeke's keep that knowledge to himself until now on purpose to gain the advantage? I don't know. I suppose all I can do is press these witnesses for as much new information as possible. I'm gonna try presenting again here, I guess? Hold on. No, actually, I'm gonna save. We're gonna save, and then we're gonna present. Okay, poking through the grill in the base of what remains of the kinesis machine.
Objection!
Yeah, see, I presented it. It was literally just I didn't press the statement, which was an unnecessary press. You say that while the while the weapon remains in the body, there's very little bleeding. Is that unequivocal? Also, the audio broke. The audio's still broken. There we go.
Look, there was no blood on the experimentation stage, even though that's where the fellow was stabbed. You know, the explanation for that is that the screwdriver was still in his body, stopping any heavy bleeding. It's common medical knowledge, my learned friend, even on your side of the world.
Yes, but about the screwdriver... The thing is, we actually saw it at the scene ourselves, on the experimentation stage.
What?
It was on the floor by the wreckage of the machine, poking through a metal grill. I went to pick it up, but the detective here stopped me. Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson?
Now you come to mention it, yes. Inspector, are we to understand that you permitted the Defense Council to investigate? That you contravened the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act? No, not at all. I wouldn't do that. I just let him look, nothing more. I was very clear he wasn't to touch a thing.
Yes, that's true. The screwdriver was in plain sight on the stage. But it shouldn't have been, should it?
Well, what are you getting at?
If this tool had still been in the victim's body when the victim was beamed away by the machine, then it shouldn't have been still been on the stage.
Ah!
That's right. It should have been beamed across the Crystal Tower along with Mr. Asman. And been found still lodged in the victim's chest.
Gwa!
Ordar! How do you explain this, Inspector?
Very simple, actually.
Your Honor. So, the basis of this experiment is that all matter is held together by electrical bonds. However, these different electrical bonds have different positive and negative charges. Therefore, the electrical bonds holding together this screwdriver made of likely aluminum, or maybe nickel or something like that, are different from those that hold together, are not only different but also stronger than those that hold together the human body. As a result, the electrical bonds holding together the screwdriver weren't broken. Therefore, when the body was vaporized and then reassembled, the screwdriver was not did not travel with him, because the screwdriver was not able to be broken down. It looks as though everything in the victim had on his person moved with him when he was beamed.
Actually, that's a good point.
But the screwdriver was still in his chest when the instantaneous kinesis occurred. Obviously, that should have been beamed to the destination as well.
Ew.
This is a strange situation. Even though people are saying that this instantaneous kinesis is a scientific impossibility, we're still basing arguments on the assumption that it actually did take place. Alright, time to tighten the screws here. My lord, if the prosecution is unable to explain this inconsistency in its argument, we can only conclude that the testimony given in support cannot be relied upon. Lord Van Zinks is stuck. Do you have something to say, witness? Yes, I knew. Right. It bears out. The equations hold. Mr. Naruhodo, don't worry! About what? Without delving into the details, there is no inconsistency. Why are you digging yourself a deeper hole? What? There's something in my keyboard. Like a little red thingy. Even if Andrew had been lodged into Mr. Asman's chest, my trusted tool wouldn't have moved. Andrew remaining on the stage is consistent with my calculations. What? What? It would seem your illusions have been shattered. Clearly, we should hear the accused's explanation. Or should I say, this brilliant scientist's explanation?
Just when I found an inconsistency in the prosecution's argument. Scientists. Very well, the defendant will testify again. Provide us with the scientific explanation as to why the inconsistency asserted by the defense fails to hold.
In the name of Apollo, I will, my lord. In the name of Apollo, I will, my lord. Sorry, I went... Saseki for a second.
Inconsistency explained.
To be clear, I'm still at the stage of gathering data in my research. My hypothesis states that the kinesis cannot transport metal, though. Hence, the metal weapon would have stayed put.
Well, I didn't actually mean to bring up save. I meant to bring up court record. And immediately object. right there, because the guy has metal glasses in his picture.
The metal weapon would have stayed put. In other words, the point just raised by Mr. Naruhodo isn't an inconsistency at all.
Basically, exactly what I said, but so basically exactly what I said jokingly.
Mr. Asman was the patron of my research. Without him, my work wouldn't have been possible. Now I have a duty to protect the incredible machine that we built together.
So, the thrust of your testimony, Professor, is that based upon his hypothesis, metal objects cannot be moved by this method of instantaneous kinesis.
In other words?
In other words, since the screwdriver is made of metal, even if it remained lodged in the victim's chest, its subsequent discovery on stage, despite the victim being found elsewhere, is not an inconsistency. And therefore, Professor Albert Harebrain could still have been the killer. I thought the audio was broken.
My great hypothesis holds, you see. Why, we had to make the cage used to get in the subject from wood for that very reason.
I was not addressing you, witness. Professor Harebrain.
Yes?
Whose side are you on here?
I don't take sides, Mr. Naruhodo. No. My only interest lies in upholding my hypothesis. I'm a scientist, after all.
Is he working for us or against us? It's very hard to tell. Let's see how you cross-examine this testimony, my Nipponese friend.
Yes, fire away, Mr. Naruhodo.
Inconsistency explained.
Hold it!
And yet your retort to my argument wasn't lacking in confidence in any way.
No scientist can find the truth about first fighting self-belief. If those were the words of a certain scientist, I hold in the very highest esteem.
But you realize that disproving my argument puts you in a very precarious position, don't you?
No scientist should strive to protect himself more than he strives to protect the truth. More words from the same great scientist, you know.
Words that are causing me a lot of trouble. Who is this scientist?
I'm afraid I couldn't tell you, Mr. Naruhodo. But as soon as I remember the magnificent genius's name, you'll be the first to know.
It might be worth keeping the names of your idols to mind. You're wasting your breath, my learned friend. The scatterbrained even forgets my name at times. So Lord Van Zeus really did have a friend once, but I didn't notice how freezing over.
Hold it!
Your hypothesis states it, so this isn't proven, though. No, of course not. It's merely a hypothesis, but a good one, based on thousands of calculations. But it is widely known the metals can't be decomposed by electrolysis. Yes, of course, so I am right. My hypothesis is clearly correct. What is it about incriminating himself that makes this man so happy? It's the whole reason that the birdcage is made of wood, you see. Sorry, the birdcage? Yes, that's what I call the sea obtuse cage in which Mr. Asman was placed for the kinesis. Sorry, I'm tripping over my words. Ah, the jail cell in which the victim was detained. It does seem to be made of timber of some sort. I'm thinking not to refer to it as an instrument of incarceration, your lordship. In short, anyone who launched the victim when he was being put away by instantaneous kinesis would have been left behind on the stage if it was made of metal, correct? Yes, that's it. Yes. Oh, fits perfectly with the mathematical model. But the ultimate conclusion is that the defendant alone had the opportunity to inflict the fatal injury on the victim, is it not? Indeed, sir. Someone beat me out of this nightmare.
Hold it!
You seem to be pleased by that. Yes, another example of my hypothesis holding true. But I sense some sarcasm, Mr. No. Are you not pleased? No. I know it. At the end of the day, I'm the one responsible for Mr. Osmond losing his life. The advancement of science is no excuse, I know that! No, you're quite right. Tell the court, did you have a close relationship with Mr. Asman? Oh, well, no, not really. I mean, I'd only met him 2 or 3 times. We only ever discussed my hypothesis in the project and the research grant, of course. Alright, well... let's... go back and press. Well, let's press these last 2. How'd you come to know Mr. Asman in the first place? A year ago now, a small provincial science journal published a little paper about my work. That's a scientific journal? Good gracious, I should need new spectacles. I might have had an extraordinary hypothesis of great promise, but at the time I had no money. I had to eat tiny little meals at a tiny little cafe and drink watered-down water out of a tiny little glass. But Mr. Asman read the paper and came to visit me at my tiny little laboratory. And offered you money to help fund your work. Exactly. That's exactly what happened. I handled the theoretical side of things, and Mr. Asman provided me with an engineer for the practical. And the 3 of us produced that fantastic machine together. The machine that you brought to the Great Exhibition to demonstrate. We had to apply for the government for some sort of inspection to be allowed to the exhibit, I think. I didn't understand all that side of things, but Mr. Asman took care of it all. He was a wonderful man, really. I owe him everything. Okay, we're gonna save again, just in case something weird happens.
Hold it!
You said that you built the machine together. Does that mean that you were involved in its construction? Yes. Well, not exactly. I'm not good with the practical sides of machines myself, and so the physical construction was done by an engineer. Little remains of your creation now, though, following the explosion. Repair will no doubt be impossible.
Yes, I realize that. But still, I mean, as long as they have the blueprints, then they can make another one eventually. If someone were to gather all the broken parts, they could discover the secret of my hypothesis. Mr. Aspen and I toiled over that machine for so long, we poured our hearts and souls into it. I had to protect our work. So what's left of the machine must be kept safe. That's only fair, because what happened was an accident. That's the extent of the testimony, then. Thank goodness for that. I don't want him to do any more damage. He's already basically proven that he could have been the culprit. It seems as though all he really cares about is defending his hypothesis. Still, I wonder... what if his hypothesis is just fundamentally flawed? Alright, we're gonna save here and present the picture, and we'll show the glasses. Because I feel like that's what they're wanting done, because these glasses are very clearly made out of some kind of metal. Also, there's a button on his shirt here, but whatever.
Objection!
Yep. Professor Harebrained, you said that according to your hypothesis, nothing made of metal can be beamed by instantaneous kinesis using the machine you made. Is that right? Yes, that's right. Spot on. Exactly correct. In that case, I'd like to you to have a look at this photograph that was taken at the scene. In particular, I'd like you to pay attention to the victim's face. You can clearly see that Mr. Aspen is wearing a pair of spectacles with a metal rim. What? Metal? No, metal can't. That's not... metal? No! We've already established that the proposed murder weapon, the screwdriver, was found on the stage. However, if your hypothesis correctly predicted that outcome, it should have also predicted that the metal rimmed spectacles would be found in the same place. Thank goodness I didn't have to point that out. Ah, my hypothesis! My hypothesis! Professor Harebrained, this isn't easy for me to say. The hypothesis is clearly flawed. Wow! Order! Counsel, what is the implication of this? If on the day in question the alleged instantaneous kinesis never actually took place, it's entirely possible that the victim was killed somewhere other than on the stage. And in that case, someone other than the defendant could have been the culprit. But my hypothesis is sound! I proved it that day. The experiment was a success. The experiment was proof of all my work!
If I could say something here, Michael Leslie is a fellow of the Royal Society.
Guest juror number 4, go ahead.
As a man of science, there's one thing I simply cannot abide. And it's a fraud who pretends to be a fellow man of science.
What? Wait, Scott! Are you suggesting my science is suspect?
It's just been disproved, hasn't it? It's in front of all of us. In other words, the whole demonstration was complete nonsense from the start. Believe me, my fellow jurors, when I tell you that this man is a heel, a bounder, and a fraud. I said the record should be stripped down and thoroughly, and that machine should be stripped down and thoroughly examined.
No, never! That machine is the essence of my entire hypothesis. It's protected by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act.
What the devil is it blasted at trouble about it? Who made up such a daft rule? I'm changing his voice because I don't remember what I used before.
I really don't like the way this seems to be going. Sometimes we find out the professor. The best way is for me to save Scum. We'll raise an objection.
Objection!
Professor Harebrained has yet to perfect his invention. That would seem to be the case, yes. But even so what? he went to such trouble and expense to create a fake machine to display in public, he would have absolutely no reason to do such a thing.
Objection!
He had an obvious reason to do exactly that. For the research grant money.
If the government was to deem this man's ridiculous notion plausible, he and his conspirators would have received a handsome sum indeed.
Conspirators? What would be the value of such a grant? £10?
You're an order of magnitude out, madam. £500 a year. The society has noticed an increase in bogus public demonstrations in the field of science recently. There have been plenty of scientists arguing with each other to get the largest slice of the funding cake. People's greed is plenty of motive, but not for murder, I assure you.
Why are you not juror number 1?
No, I haven't deceived anyone. Least of all the government. My hypothesis is sound, the science is sound. Please, you must believe me.
Objection!
No matter how unbelievable this hypothesis may seem to you, ladies and gentlemen, the fact remains that the victim was transported instantly to the Crystal Tower. Which means that the experiment was a success.
Ah, Barrack!
I feel like we're getting away from the point of the case here, or from the focus of the trial here. And therefore, the only person who could have possibly committed this murder is the accused. Ah, Barrack. Where's this heading? I have no idea. My lord, if I may. Yes, Lord Van Zieks. The prosecution would like to summon new witnesses to the stand. New witnesses? What will be the nature of their involvement? They are spectators of the demonstration at the exhibition who are occupying special seats. Eyewitnesses? Very well, the court grants the prosecution's request. I should very much like to hear from eyewitnesses to the incident. The prosecution's stance is clear. This experiment was no postiche. The accused killed the financier victim there on this public stage before the very eyes of the spectators. Now, my learned friend. Oh, yes? It's time for you to make your own stance clear. There's clearly a flaw in the professor's hypothesis. I can definitely see that. I guess we're gonna take the risk here that we did the right thing. Where does that leave me? We shall take a short recess now, during which time the prosecution will prepare its new witnesses to take the stand. As you wish, my lord. Good. In that case, court is adjourned for 20 minutes. To be continued. Wow, that was a lot shorter than I expected it to be. Well, bye YouTube.